perception of how big it is with the people there. American flag. There's a close-up here. Lots of stuff, lots of plane. We're just doing the final 4.2 miles here, coming from Charleston Peak, and there's Griffith Peak up there, another couple miles. And here's the final 4.2. It's the middle of May and there's a lot of snow on the trail and it's immediately downhill, so it should be quite fun. So don't miss the bucket hat. Okay, let's go. So this trail is it's a weird one, really. If you come earlier than mid-May, the switchbacks around mile 3.2, you just can't see. They're covered in snow, which we'll see soon. And you have to kind of just ignore the trail and go straight up. It's impossible to see. But if you go later in the year, then the bottom couple miles are scorching hot and you'll definitely need a hat. And once you get to mile 4.2 where we just were, then you're going to get some sunburn. It's going to be horrible. So my recommendation, really early morning in the summer, or you know, May time, and just kind of push through the snowbirds. June seems like a good time too. So here we go. So you can see, here we go. It's not that obvious. Coming up is okay, but going down, you're putting a lot more weight. You're putting a lot more weight down. So you're going to dig some holes, and you know, you can roll an ankle easy. I've done it. 12 weeks off. I've rolled a foot. 16 weeks off. But you know, it is what it is. You can always swim while you heal. Nothing wrong with a bit of cross training. But yeah, trail shoes. I've done it in Nike Free. It's like a, you know, like a 5K shoe. Oh no, sliding everywhere. Not worth it. Just need a little bit of grip. You'll still slide, but you know, not as bad. Walking poles obviously would help, but I don't know. I've never used them. Maybe in a couple decades I'll you know, laugh at my former self, but right now I don't need them. But yeah, mid-May I've seen one person on this whole trail. It's a Thursday, so you know, there's that. But the one person I did see, they turned around at mile 2. So yeah, they didn't really do much of it at all. They're saying it's 8.5 miles each way. So we're probably going to fall on our ass a couple times at least. Which is always fun. There we go. So this is the South Loop. There's also the North Loop. Now the North Loop, it's not really a loop because it goes to Charleston Peak. Then if you want to turn it into a loop, you go down the South Loop. So really the South and North make a loop. But if you want to go up the south, down the north, yeah, you can. But where you park your car, you're gonna have another couple miles at the bottom trying to get back to your car, unless you have a loving friend or partner that's willing to drive to the other trailhead for you. But you know, they may be in for a 4 to 6, maybe a longer hour wait, so that'll be a pretty good friend right there. So North Loop, 2 miles up, it's a bit longer, but it's easier. All your elevation comes in the first couple miles, and then, you know, it's nice gentle rolling hills to Charleston Peak. Whereas the South Loop, 4.2 miles up, and then you have rolling hills on the meadows where the fire was. So even though the North Loop is longer, I'd say it's definitely easier, just because of the elevation change and, you know, how that's sort of mapped out. But the South Loop, this one is most popular. So you can see here we've got a little precarious ledge, but you're not going to go very far. You know, you're just going to kind of fall over and slide a few inches. No big deal. Yeah. So there's our switchback, which we can't really access right now. But the best is yet to come. It's definitely 3.2 miles in, and because we're coming down, that's going to be very soon. Oops. Yeah, watch go. Okay. You'll see a lot more casuals in the last mile or two. They'll sort of just be doing the start. They'll do a bit of elevation, then kind of just turn around and maybe do Cathedral Rock instead. Okay. So a tip, well, I believe there goes our trail, so we're gonna go down here. Not much we can do about that. People say stay on the trails, but what's a trail when you can't see it? There it is. So it picks up there again. So yeah, pro tip, stand in other people's footprints, because they'll be packed ice, because everyone follows other people's footprints. So as it snows, you know, people walk, it snows, people walk, the footprints will be hardened ice. If you make a new footprint in the fresh snow, you might find you go down to your knee, which is always fun. Okay, so we've had our first casualty, not too bad. It's always bad coming down. Just like a mountain, most accidents and deaths always coming down. It's just to do with your center of mass going up. You can lean forward. There's our trail. Coming down, it's all forward, so you kind of got to lean back with it. When you lean back, yeah, you're probably going to fall on your butt, but it's better than going forwards, trust me. Okay. definitely harder one-handed holding the camera. Okay. So I was going to film this in the summer, but I thought it'd be more interesting now. Woo! More interesting because you can laugh when I fall. And well, that's basically it, isn't it? And we can see a bit of snow as well. See how much snow sort of Las Vegas area gets, which is none down in the valley. Maybe once every, I think, 8 years it might snow a bit somewhere. But up here, yeah, every winter we got the ski resort. And there's a lodge which was apparently burnt down, but I drove by today and it looked fine, so I'm kind of confused. And yeah, other things too. Oh, Dyson with danger. Whew. Let's go. Well, I'd say we're about halfway through the snow part now. I'd say this is a lot of snow for mid-May. I've done it at the start of May and you know there's not been much at all, so it just really depends on the season. But when this area heats up, this snow disappears pretty quickly, so 1 week can make a big difference. Alright, so I think that was the crux for sure. So we might start seeing people soon. We'll see. Rocks in the snow, not a good mixture. It's not fun. Now this is quite dangerous. The snow is actually hiding quite a big hole. You know, you want to kind of avoid that. You can tell just by looking at the edge. I wouldn't say it's a crevasse because it's only 2-3 feet, but yeah, you know, it could do your ankle in and that won't be fun. Okay, so hard bit all done. We have a lot of rocks pretty much on the whole of the trail, really. So it's good to pay attention, especially when you're running, because you can easily roll an ankle, especially if your shoes aren't tight. And what happens is, the way those mini crevasses are formed, the water melts, rolls off the mountain and kind of melts the underlayer of the snow that comes in contact with the water, leaving the top layer. So as soon as you put, you know, a couple 100 pounds on that, I'm sure a lot less too, yeah, you're gonna sink through. So a nice little lookout here, look. Woo! So yeah, it's a pretty much of a solid drop. So yeah, trip over there, you're gone for sure. People have, so you know, yeah, that's obviously no fun. But yeah, nice lookout area. You can enjoy it without going to the edge. So a lot of people have a little break here. It's about 3 miles in. So if running over rocks like this, a little tip is to tense your body, and that way you're adding protection to your knees, joints, because your muscles are overly supporting them, if that makes sense. You mostly get injured when you're not prepared. There's no adrenaline, there's no muscle tension, there's you know, you get hurt. That's how it works. So if I'm going over that, I'll tense up, sort of stand tall, a lot less likely to get injured. It's not foolproof, but yeah, it's what works. And you adopt like a less forward momentum, but more up and down as well with your footing. So this run is it's quite difficult after doing Charleston Peak or even Griffith Peak, or even just getting up here. You know, these first 4.2 miles just sap your energy like crazy. You know, 20-minute miles getting up here is fantastic. 25, you know, that's hauling too. So my advice, if you want to make the peak, you got to go easy on the first 4 coming up, because you can really, you know, run out of liquid, energy, it zaps your calves and quads, and you'll have nothing left for the, you know, the further 4.5 miles to Charleston Peak, or the next 2 to Griffith Peak even. So it's a good idea to take it easy coming up. Okay, little switch back there. So we've fell down once, we've rolled nothing, so we're doing pretty well. Yeah, one other thing, if you're really tired and you're kind of running on fumes, I recommend taking it easy going down the hill, because your muscles won't support your knees, your ankles, and you can really easily get injured. Very easy to do. You'll notice your feet aren't lifting as high either, and you'll be tripping over almost every rock. So I wouldn't recommend jogging or running if you're really weak, lethargic, tired, anything like that. But if you've never been here before, you know, take a walk, soak it in. It's a really nice area, and as you've seen, it's absolutely nothing like Vegas. And for a local living here, it's kind of like our getaway. You know, you don't even see trees. Even cacti don't grow in Vegas. There's not enough water, so you might see some locals here. Especially when the season kicks off, or in the summer, as it gets up to about 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which is around 46 degrees Celsius. You know, you gotta get out of that heat. Power bills are about $600–800 on a 2-story house just to run the AC. It's nuts. So yeah, no people yet. Yeah, I definitely took a wrong turn there. But yeah, some of the trees here, bristlecone pines, hundreds of years old. Very old, ancient trees. And if you do the bristlecone trail, you'll see a lot of them. You know what? I don't know the way down. Let's try again. Must have missed something obvious. Alright, I think it's through here. I don't remember that at all, but you can see how the snow hides the trails here. Okay. So this is where the person turned around, the only person I saw on the whole trail. And if you slip here, yeah, you might go for a nice ride, but I don't think you'll get hurt. But don't take my word for it. Whew. Alright, two. So this bit doesn't last very long, and you'll probably see a lot of people turning around here, in fact. But once you get to mile 4, you're fine. Even the summit, you can, you know, get up there. It's just these shady areas in the trees. That's what holds on to the snow till the very end. But by June, you shouldn't see any at all. At least not on the trail. Okay, just had to do a mini stop there because my shoes were chomping on my Achilles. Ooh, there we go. So I just pulled my compression sleeve over it, and now it only feels half as bad, so we're winning. Okay. So again, probably just slide a little if you fall. Big holes, look. But we'll stick with the footprints, we're fine. Okay, I think that's the last of the snow on the trail. I remember because of that wilderness sign. Okay, spoke too soon. So here's someone. They turned around because I didn't see them earlier. Just squeezing through. Thank you. Have a good one.
Well, obviously, you didn't get the ingredients.
Okay, there, look. So another lookout here. It's quite nice. I don't remember, but I think it's around 1.8 miles in. I could be wrong. But I think a lot of people casually turn around there. You know, they get a little lookout. Some people turn around at the snow. Some turn around at the next plateau. And some do 4 miles or even the rest. But like I said, you'll start seeing more people down here now. It's good if you're having trouble. Maybe you didn't bring enough drink. You know, you injured yourself. So even though it's nice to be alone, like I was today, especially if you're unsure of your ability or there's horrible weather, it's good to have people around. So yeah. But this is what it's like on a Thursday in May. What are we doing? Ah, fuck. Keep forgetting to resume my watch then. Okay. Okay. So we're going about 9-minute miles here. I think that's a good compromise between, you know, not getting injured and not being on this mountain all day. So we're getting no exposure now for pretty much the rest of the trail, and definitely bring some headwear. I don't recommend a visor because the top of your head really heats up. You can brave a bucket hat or like a baseball cap, one of those running ones made of a special material, anything like that, because the sun, secret killer. The sky is always blue in Vegas, always blue. Maybe 5 days of the year it's not. So yeah, you're gonna get burnt, you're gonna get hot. It's not fun. And sun lotion. My rule of thumb is to wear a hat that puts your forehead in shade, and then don't put sun lotion on your forehead, because when you sweat it rolls into your eyes, and that's horrible. Especially if you have contact lenses, you're just in a bit of a mess and you have no supplies, probably dirty hands. So yeah, pro tip there. Okay, so we're getting a bit rocky now, so load it up a little. Jogging downhill, really good for your quads. If you're into squatting or anything like that, downhill is really hard on the quads. But if you do hill running, downhill running, you'll be a beast on any road race after that. Very good training. It trains your intervals if you only run straights and downs and walk-ups. It gets your heart rate going on the ups. Very good training. There's not much out there that beats it, really. Especially trail running, navigating boulders and terrain. It really works those kind of, you know, non-major muscles, the connecting ones. Because what people tend to do, a good example is when you go to the gym and you use those static weight machines. You know, you're training like one muscle or one muscle group, but it's not really training the supporting muscles, the network. So what happens is you have one really strong muscle, it looks like a balloon, but it's not being supported by anything trained, if that makes sense. So that way you can get injured, because yeah, you might have a big calf muscle, a big quad, something like that, but you know, they have to connect to something. They don't just work by themselves. And you can't train knees. It's knee, it's bone and cartilage. You can't train that, it's not a muscle. However, to resolve knee pain and prevent knee problems, you train the muscles around the knees. That's the secret. That's the same with any joint, really. And because we're on uneven terrain, we're working calves, quads, and all those little connecty bits as well. We're stretching the tendons. We're doing everything we need to do to ensure we have good knees ankles and anything like that. Because I know some people watching this video will be saying things like, well, you're crazy going down a rubbly hill, you can easily get injured. Yeah, it happens, but you know, it's like 1 in 200. People can get unlucky. People get a bit carried away doing a race, then going out the next day on weak legs, like we talked about before. And you can just trip, human error, you might not see a rock. Lots of reasons, but you know, staying away from the flat roads and hitting up some trails, it'll make you a really good runner, and you know, have your joints working into older age, which is always a good thing. But go into it lightly, because you need to build into it. That's all I'm going to say about that. So we're getting down into the valley now. You'll see a couple of water pipes going down. I'm not sure if they're still used, but here they are. And I'm sure that sort of collects some of the water from some of the peaks there and feeds it down into the valley. So a lot of these trees will come down in winter, so I wouldn't worry about them falling on your head in the spring, summer or autumn. I'm sure it's happened, but it's more when we get those crazy winds, and in the winter too. So that's how that happens.
Wait. 4 millas y ya escoges donde quieres ir.
How's it going? So we're back again. I just had to tell them how far things were. They'll probably turn around at the snow. I think the guy looked a bit gassed, but the thing is, it doesn't really matter if you make the peak. It's just about getting out there and doing something. So, you know, getting out of the house is the hardest part. Who cares if you don't summit? You know, you don't want to think like that, because then you'll get disappointed. Okay. So there's some little stairs here. It's quite hard going coming up this bit. How's it going? So you can see we've started seeing a lot of people now in the last mile and a half. This side we said we would, I guess. Hey, dog. How's it going?
Hey.
How's it going? Doggo. Most common dog in America, Labrador Retriever. Bit of trivia for you there. Alright. we should do mountain trivia really. I think the tallest mountain in the lower 48 states is Mount Whitney. And that is hard because it's pretty much right next to Death Valley. And we know that Death Valley has the lowest elevation point in the whole world, I think. Badland Basin, I think it's called. It has a negative elevation. So that mountain is all you, pretty much from sea level. Really hard. And you need permits and all kinds of stuff. Nightmare. Tallest one in the US, Denali, which is in Alaska, in Denali National Park. I think it used to be called Mount McKinley. Tallest mountain in the world, Everest, obviously, but not the hardest mountain to climb. I think K2 or some of the ones quite, you know, has a lot more deaths associated with it, let's put it that way. Tallest one in Africa, I think that's Kilimanjaro. In the UK, Ben Nevis in Scotland, not far from Glasgow. But Ben Nevis is a lot smaller than Mount Charleston. So if you've got this one in your books and you fancy a crack at Ben Nevis, give it a go. That's about all the mountain trivia I can think of right now. Oh, a funny one. I think the tallest point in Florida is some random park, and I don't even know if it's 1,000 feet, but it's something super low. So I thought that was pretty funny too. Okay, that's it, we're done. So we're getting down it now. We're parked at the end of this trail. They offer free parking. The bathrooms, they're random. Sometimes they're closed, sometimes they're open. Sometimes one's open, sometimes the other one's open. So be prepared, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm not sure there's a formula. Oh, almost rolled an ankle. Saved it. I think if I was 50 pounds heavier, that would have gone. Okay. That's nice, they've cut the tree for us. So this area doesn't charge anything to come here. That might change in the future. National parks are getting super expensive. It won't surprise me if this turned into one. But right now, it's free. And people do somewhat maintain the trails, as you can see there. Oop. Almost. Okay. All right. Well, I guess they haven't maintained it this season yet, but we'll see in a few months. So Mount Charleston area, if you're coming off the freeway, it has two prongs, if that makes sense, two roads going to it. The southern one goes to this area where the lodge is and this trail. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. And yeah, this trail, and you know, other bits too. There's a little town, a little fire station. I think the town of Mount Charleston itself is here too, very small. Let's just get by these. How's it going?
Very good.
Good. And the northern road, that goes to the ski resort, which I think is open back up now. It's no Brian Head or anything like that, or the Swiss Alps, but it's something. And there's Bristlecombe Pine Trails and upper and lower. It's quite a nice 5-mile loop, give or take. And there's a few wilderness trails there too. So yeah, that's good as well. It's a bit further. I'd probably say an extra half an hour, give or take. So that's where we parked, just down there. Some stairs. Right, I ran out of liquid about an hour ago, so always leave a big jug in your car, because you might end up in a restaurant paying premium prices, and that's if that restaurant or lodge is open, so always be prepared. But yeah, I think I took a 2-litre up here. Definitely not enough, especially this late in the day. It's around 1 p.m. now, and especially running or jogging too. But you know, I'm almost 200 pounds. My body's quite expensive, and I was born in a very cold country, so you know, it just depends on your own tolerance to heat and hills and pace. So you know what you can do, but never run out of liquid. If you do the northern loop, now that is a secret surprise. The northern loop has a spring where you can drink the water. It's safe to drink, and I think it's 3 or 4 miles up. So if you're on Charleston Peak with no water, go down the north loop, because you can drink from the spring and, you know, not die on the way down, which is all good. So that's the only one I can think of anywhere in this whole area. So a bit of a tip there, which may save your life or someone else's. So there's the trailhead, that little green thing. We're just coming down now. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope the stabilization was good. I hope the 2 fall downs were funny. Let me know what you think. I might do more. If not, I won't. And we are done. Okay. So 1 casualty. Not too bad. And yeah, here's the trailhead. So no overnight camping, signs for that. Toilets there, they were locked, but we can park here. So you're pretty much on the trailhead. North loop's that way. Vegas and Mount Charleston's that way. So thank you for watching. I hope you like the bucket hat. Never worn it before. I probably never will again. Take care.